All right, so if you were absent on Monday, the 26th of October, or Tuesday, the 27th of October, here's what we did in class. So we finished up the Unit 4 notebook, and although we didn't spend a lot of time on the Puritans, you should have these questions completed. Here's what we did last week. We worked on the article of the week number 2, so that should be finished. We did all of this work in class last week, and I have other screencasts for this if you have not completed this. So the only thing left in this notebook now is writing our 10 sentences. Last Wednesday, the last tutorial, we did vocabulary 3 on Schoology, and now we're going to practice using those words by writing sentences. So that's what we started with. Once you've finished your notebook 4, you can go ahead and submit that. It was due on the night of the 26th at midnight. And now we're going to be looking at Unit 5. And Unit 5, if you scroll down on the desktop, we've moved beyond Puritanism, and we're next looking at the Enlightenment. We're not going to spend a great deal of time here, but we are going to look at a couple of the foundational documents from the Enlightenment, which of course was during our revolution, during our independence. So you're going to open this up, and you'll see that there's an online notebook unit for Unit 5. Open that up, and for you it'll be here. All right, so when you open up the document for Unit 5, it's going to look something like this. And as always, we start out by defining our terms. And in this case, we're going to take a look at rhetorical devices. Rhetoric is a fancy word for argument or persuasion. So when you use rhetoric and you use rhetorical devices, you're using those to convince someone, to persuade someone to your point of view. So these can be powerful tools. And one of the things you'll notice is that some of these are the same things that we used in our personal narrative to make our story more vivid, to paint pictures in the reader's minds. And so these kinds of tools work just as well when you're trying to persuade someone to your point of view. So we've got all the terms over here, and what we did in class was a scavenger hunt. So you're going to click here, and this is going to take you to a Padlet where you'll see all the terms, all the definitions. And here's the Padlet, here's what it looks like. And so your job is to copy and paste the definitions that you see into next to the term that it defines. So once you've finished writing your definitions, then the next step is to kind of see, let's look at an example. Let's see how a writer from the Enlightenment uses these rhetorical devices to help persuade. So we read the first paragraph in class together, and then we did a close reading of that paragraph because the language is a little different from how we speak today, and we wanted to kind of close read and try to define what that paragraph says. Then together we identified some rhetorical devices, highlighted them, and started to put them in the chart below. These we're going to be giving examples. So if we look at the first sentence here, it says, "These are the times that try men's souls, the summer soldier and the sunshine patriot." And this was one that we identified as being very alliterative. So we highlighted that. And then we copied it. And pasted it here as an example of alliteration. And so we worked through the first paragraph trying to find examples. We found an example of repetition. We found an example of, of antithesis, where we had two things that were opposite to one another. Okay, so see if you can read this first paragraph, find an example of repetition, and find an example of antithesis.